Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good night.
Hello.
All right.
Hi.
All right. So, hi. How you doing? Everybody there in Alchese today?
Just that Kima and Leilani aren't here.
All right. How about in Mogollon? Everybody there?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. And who are we missing in Hopi?
They're here. They're just running a little late. They just went to the
Alright.
bathroom.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So today the plan is that we'll first I'll go over any questions that you might have in like from the chapter 1 review or test in the book, or chapter 2, or anything from 1.1 through 3.3. I would ask though that and while I'll give you the whole period if you want to ask me questions, but I would prefer it if you ask me questions from things that you've already tried, because you'll learn a lot more than if you just say, oh, that problem looks hard, let's have Mr. Strong do it. Okay. So if you want to be looking for a question or trying a problem real quick, you can do that. And then once we're out of problems to do, then we're going to go back to 3.5. All right. So that's what we're doing today. Tomorrow we're going to do the midterm part 1. And then on Thursday we're going to do the midterm part 2. And then I won't see you again until next Monday. All right. So any questions about the schedule for the week? Okay, so does anyone have any questions that you'd like me to review?
Yes. So on our test, it was, for me, it was question number 13. And I was looking at it last night.
Okay, hold up. Okay, on the tests and the quizzes, I don't go over those for
Oh,
everyone.
I'm sorry.
Because see,
They
there's
could run
actually a couple of people that want to take their second attempt. Does that make sense? And so if you want to email me a question, I would be happy to respond to it. But I don't want to do it over the air. Right?
Okay.
So,
I-
sorry about that. But if you want to look in the book test or the book review, I'd be happy to just pick any of those, and I'll be happy to do one like it, maybe.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Anyone else have a problem?
I have a question. It's on the chapter 2 test, question 4. Do we put it into a distance formula? I had a problem with that last night.
Okay, so it's the chapter 2 test or review.
Test. And it was question 4.
Okay. All right. So okay. Okay. So the chapter 2 test number 4. All right. So So we have, so find the, so we have 3, 2, and 4y.
Dr. Strong,
Yes.
this is Kimberly. I just now came in.
Oh, thanks, Kimberly. All right, so 3, 2, and 4y. Find y such that the distance between the points is square root of 10. Okay, so so here we're going to need the distance formula. So the distance formula is d equals the square root of the difference in the x's squared plus the difference in the y's squared. All right, so now what we're going to do is plug in. So the distance is going to be the square root of 10. So we're going to put that here for d. And then the difference between the x values, so that's 3 minus 4 squared plus 2 minus, okay, and then we're trying to figure out what y value we need squared. Okay. All right, so to get rid of this radical, we're going to square both sides. So that would be 10 is equal to 3 minus 4 is negative 1 squared plus 2 minus y squared. Actually, let's go ahead and square that out. So 2 minus y squared would be 4 minus 4y plus y squared. All right, so now this is a quadratic. So to solve for y, we're going to set everything equal to 0. So we've got the y squared minus 4y, and then negative 1 squared is 1 plus 4 is 5. But then when I subtract 10, then I'm going to get 5 minus 10 is negative 5. All right, and so then you solve that for y. And so the easiest way to solve a quadratic is factoring. So see if you can factor that. So y squared factors to y and y. The factors of negative 5, plus and minus. So then you say what two numbers multiply to get negative 5, that add to get negative 4. So that would be negative 5 and positive 1. So then you set each factor equal to 0. So you get y equals negative 1 and y equals 5. So there's actually two possibilities here that would have that distance, okay? And if you think about it, see, we know the x value. So, you know, if you measured up or down, you know, you could get that same distance in two different directions. So that's why we're going to have two different answers there. Okay. So those are my answers there. Okay. Any questions on that one? Now, I will say this as we go through these problems that are in the book, both the review and the test, I think overall the problems are a little bit harder than what they would be on the midterm. And I actually like that. I think it's better to study that way than if I gave you stuff to do that was easier than the midterm. See, you would hate that if the midterm questions were all harder. So if you can do these, you'll be okay. All right. Is there another one you'd like me to go through?
Number 16 on the same chapter test.
Okay. All right. So number 16. All right. So find the equation in slope-intercept form of the line parallel to 1 minus y minus 3x over 2 equals 4, and passing through to -5. All right, so so when it says finding an equation, then usually that means we're going to use the point slope formula to find the equation. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to have to know that formula for this problem. And then in slope-intercept form, that's y equals mx plus b. So our final answer is going to need to look like that, okay? So first, point slope form, we have a point. We're given the point 2, -5, but what we need is the slope. And so this part where it says it's parallel to this line, that means it's going to have the same slope as that line. So what we're going to have to do is find the slope of that line. So to find the slope of the line, we're going to solve it for y. So get y by itself. So first, I'm going to subtract 1. And so that will give me negative y minus 3x over 2 equals 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay. All right, now let's get rid of the 2 by multiplying each side by 2. So that would be negative y minus 3x equals 6. All right, now I want to get rid of the negative 3x, so add 3x to each side. So that would be negative y equals 3x plus 6. And then multiply through by -1. So I'd get y equals negative 3x minus 6. So the part that I need from that is this negative 3. That's the slope of the line I want because my line is parallel to that, so it has the same line. Okay? So then using the point slope formula, it's going to be y minus the y coordinate, which is negative 5, equals m, which I just found to be negative 3, times x minus the x coordinate, which is 2. Okay? So now I need to put it in slope-intercept form. So let's rewrite this as y plus 5. Distribute the negative 3, and I get negative 3x plus 6. And now subtract 5, and I get y equals negative 3x. 6 minus 5 would be plus 1.
All right, I found one that is close to what I was asking in the beginning.
Okay, wait. I think I've made a little mistake here. So just give me a timeout here. This negative went in front of this whole thing, and when I wrote it down there, I just put it with the y, which is wrong. Okay? So let me just clean this up just a little bit. So this negative goes out front. And so then what I should do to get rid of the 2 and the negative out front, I should multiply each side by negative 2. And so that will give me a negative 6 here. And then I won't have a negative right there. Okay? All right, then I add 3x to each side. And again, I don't have a negative here. So it's y equals 3x, and then it'll be minus 6. So then my slope is positive 3. Not negative 3. Okay, so let's see, y minus negative 5 equals 3 times x minus 2. So y plus 5 would be 3 minus 6. And then when you subtract 5, so y equals 3x minus 11. Okay? So again, the mistake I made there was this negative in front. I was kind of sloppy with it, and I just put it with the y, whereas it's out in front of this whole fraction. And so to get rid of the 2, I multiply by 2. To get rid of the negative, I multiply by negative. So it's, in a sense, multiplying by negative 2 is what gets rid of it. Okay? All right, any other questions on this one? All right, so let's go back to your next question.
Okay, so on chapter 1 review, number 30.
Okay, chapter 1 review. All right, convert the following expressions from radical notation to exponential notation or vice versa. Simplify each expression in the process if possible. All right, so we have 49 x to the 4th to the 1/2 and 16 x squared raised to the 3/4. Okay. All right, so the first thing I would do is take care of these exponents on the outside. So what you do is you raise everything inside here to the 1/2 power. So you're going to have 49 to the 1/2 power, and then x to the 4th to the 1/2 power. Okay, and then the second one, you raise everything to the 3/4 power. So you're going to have 16 to the 3/4 power, and then x to the 12th to the 3/4 power. All right, so then what's 49 to the 1/2 power?
7.
7. Okay, and then this will be x to, so when you have a power raised to a power, you multiply the exponent, so that'll be what? X to what power?
X to the 2.
Okay. All right, now, 16 to the 3/4. What's the 4th root of 16? What times itself 4 times gives you 16?
Is it 2?
2. And then you say then 2 cubed is
8.
8. Okay. Now you can always put that in your calculator if you got lost on that. And then you have x to the, what's 12 times 3/4? Or what's 3/4 of 12?
3.
9.
I mean 9.
Okay. And so really there's no radical left, because here we simplify 7 times 8 is 56, and then x to the 11th. So that simplifies out completely. So there's really nothing, there's no radical to put that in. So that's it. All right. Any other ones?
Number 58 in the chapter 3 test in the book.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's chapter 3.
It's going to be 3.6. Sorry. In review?
No, it's just combining functions 3.6.
Combining functions 3.6. Exercise.
Oh, that's not going to be on the midterm. Midterm only goes through 3.3.
So when we do our 3/4, to get 9 off of 12, so we're doing it by 4, a square root of 4, like the fourth root.
Well, okay, so just forget about radicals for just a second. Whenever you have a power raised to a power, you can multiply those exponents. So 12 times 3/4, you can say 4 will go into 12 3 times, so 3 times 3 is 9. So you're just multiplying the fraction times the whole number. Okay. All right, any other questions?
Muted, dudes. I have a question.
Okay.
Wait, okay. So on number 31 on the chapter 1 test.
Okay.
Kobe.
Okay, so this one we're trying to solve this for x. Okay, now this one's pretty wicked. I'm going to just tell you right now because of these exponents, as fractions. Okay, so you just kind of have to think, well, so what do I do if I have x's in all three terms? Well, then that's a GCF. I can factor out an x. Now, there's no other GCF. There's no other number that'll go into 4, 2, and 3. So it's just going to be x. And you can factor out x to the lowest power, which is 4/7. So you factor out x to the 4/7. All right, then you write down in parentheses what you have left. 4x to the, and you subtract the exponents. So 18/7 minus 4/7 is 14/7. Bring down the minus 2, x to the 11/7 minus 4/7 is 7/7. Bring down the minus 3, and then the whole x to the 4/7 cancels. Now, that's kind of nice because when you simplify this, 14/7 simplifies to 2, 7/7 simplifies to 1. So you just get x to the 4/7 times 4x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, now this part that I factored, I can set this equal to 0 and solve it. You just raise each side to the 7/4, 0 to the 7/4, still 0. So you just get x equals 0 out of that one. Okay, this one here is a quadratic. So to solve that, I would say with this one, I would use the quadratic formula. All right, so do you need me to review that or you got it from there? Would anyone like me to continue? Okay. All right, well, next question then.
Can we do number 89 on the chapter 1 test, please?
Okay. There is no 89 on the chapter 1 test. Maybe the chapter 1 review?
Yes, that, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so this is a complex fraction. So to simplify a complex fraction, you multiply by the least common denominator of the little denominators. So what's the least common denominator of 3x and x?
X.
X.
Well, you got to have the 3 in there too. So it's going to be 3x.
Yes.
Okay? So 3x. All right, so I'm going to multiply every term by 3x in both the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so here the 3's cancel. So you get x times x is x squared from that first term. Minus, here the x's cancel, and so I get 3 times 3 is 9. All right, then in the denominator, the x's cancel, and so I get 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then 1 times 3x is 3x. All right, now I've got to make sure that I don't have a common factor that I can factor out. So I want to factor the numerator and the denominator. All right, so when I factor the numerator, that factors to x plus 3, x minus 3. And then in the denominator, I can factor out a 3. And I have negative 3 plus x. So does anything cancel?
Is it x minus 3?
Yeah, x minus 3 and negative 3 plus x is the same thing. So those will cancel. And so then your final answer is x plus 3 divided by 3. Now, can the 3's cancel? Leave you with just x? No. No, you can only cancel factors. You can't cancel sums. All right. Anything else? Going once?
I on the chapter 1 review on the same page, I was having trouble with question 88.
88. Okay. Okay. All right, so this one we've got, think about what are the rules when you multiply and divide fractions. Well, you want to factor and cancel, and then when you're dividing a fraction, you change it to multiplying the reciprocal, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is rewrite everything, but can't factor as I go, as I'm rewriting. So this is the difference of two squares. So first, I'm going to need that formula. So if you have a cubed minus b cubed, that factors to a minus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. So I'm going to need that. So then here I think of this as a cubed minus 2 cubed. So this is going to factor to a minus 2 times a squared minus a times 2, or 2a, plus 2 squared, which is 4. So that's the first one. Okay, then the denominator is the difference of two squares. It'll factor to a minus 2 times a plus 2. Okay, so right away I can see that these a minus 2's are going to cancel. So that's good. All right, next, I'm going to change this to multiplication and then flip it. So as I'm going to factor the denominator and write it in the numerator. So I can factor out a squared, and I'm left with a plus 2. Over. Okay, so here I can factor out an a, and I have left a squared plus 2a plus 4. Oh, you know what? This sign should be plus, and that should be plus, and then that's going to cancel with that. Okay, I also see that this a is going to cancel with one of these. All right, let's keep going. Times 1 over a times a plus 1. Okay, so that a is going to cancel with this a that's left here. And I think that's it. So then I write down what I have left. So in the numerator, I have a plus 2 times 1. So I can just write that as a plus 2. In the denominator, I have a plus b times a plus 1.
Shouldn't it be a plus 2? A plus 2 on the a plus b? Shouldn't it be a plus 2?
I think you're right. Yeah, a minus 2, a plus 2. Thank you. Oh, and then I got an a plus 2 to cancel. So then really all I have left in the numerator is just 1. Everything else cancels. So let's write that over again. So I just end up with 1 over a plus 1. All right. So thank you for that catch.
Next one.
All right, next.
I had a question about 40 from the chapter 1 review.
Okay, chapter 1 review, number 40. All right, so we want to factor. So 3x minus 2 to the 4/3 minus 3x minus 2y, 2y to the 2/3. Okay? So the 3x minus 2y's match. So we can factor out that entire binomial, 3x minus 2y. Now the power that we can factor out is the smallest of these two. So to the 2/3. Okay? Now I write down what I have left. Okay, so here I have 3x minus 2y. Okay, so I subtract to figure out what my exponent is left. So 4/3 minus 2/3 is 2/3. Minus, okay, now in this term, I factor that entire thing out. So you just put a 1. And that's all you can do. Because you can't simplify this because of the power on that. So that's your answer.
Can we get 94 on the chapter 1 review?
94 on the chapter 1 review?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna simplify. So this is x minus 3 times x plus 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 3 plus x minus 3 over x minus 4 minus 17 minus 4x over x squared minus 7x plus 12. Okay, so there's actually two ways that we can do this. We could distribute this through and then combine like terms, but since we have to get common denominators, I think it's easier to focus on what's inside the parentheses first and then do our multiplication. So I'm going to add these three terms together. So to add, I need to figure out the least common denominator here. So I have x minus 3, x minus 4. This I need to factor. So this actually factors to x minus 3 times x minus 4. So that is going to be the least common denominator. Okay? So to put them all over that same denominator, I'm going to have x plus 2 is got to be multiplied. Like here I have an x minus 3. What I need here is an x minus 4. So I need to multiply this x plus 2 by x minus 4. plus, okay, in this one, I already have an x minus 4. Whoop. I already have an x minus 4. What I need for the GCF is x minus 3. So I multiply top and bottom there by x minus 3. In this last one, I don't need anything because I've already got the least common denominator. So I'm going to just rewrite this. Okay, so just bring that down. I'm not worried about it though yet. Now I'm going to rewrite all of these in the green over one denominator. So the x minus 3, x minus 4. Okay, so I FOIL this out and I get x squared. Minus 4x plus 2x is minus 2x minus 8. All right, then the second one, I'm going to multiply out and get x squared minus 6x plus 9. And then here I'm going to distribute the negative and get negative 17 plus 4x. Okay? Again, I'm still simplifying that. Okay, so I'm going to have x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. Minus 2x minus 6x is negative 8x. Plus 4x is negative 4x. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1. 1 minus 17 is negative 16. All right. Now, I really need to factor that numerator. So I guess let's do one more step here. So I can factor out a 2 times x squared minus 2x minus 8. And then can I think of two numbers that multiply to get negative 8 that add to get negative 2? And that would be negative 4 and 2. So this is actually going to factor to 2 times x minus 4 times x plus 2. Okay. So here I'm going to just kind of move this to the side here. Okay. Over x minus 3 times x minus 4. And now I'm ready to multiply by the stuff out front. So times x minus 3 over x plus 2. X minus 3 over x plus 2. Okay? So now I'm going to look for stuff that will cancel. So the x minus 3's cancel. The x plus 2's cancel. The x minus 4's cancel. So all that hard work just to get 2. All right.
Go.
Can we do number 36 on chapter 1 review?
36 on chapter 1 review. Okay. Okay, so we're kind of running out of time here, but I'm going to do what I can. But so let me just say that number one, keep up what you're doing. Keep up doing these practice problems. That will really help you. And study together, help each other out. The answers are in the back. But when you're taking your midterm, you can't help each other, or just like with the quizzes and the tests. Okay? So you're going to do part 1 tomorrow, part 2 Thursday. All right, so I'm looking at 36. So we have 6, so we want to factor. So we have 6a squared minus 7a minus 5. All right, so this is a trinomial with the number in front. So this is one where I would use the AC method. Okay, to factor that. So you do 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. So you're looking for two numbers that multiply to get negative 30, to add to get negative 7. So how about 3 and negative 10? So now you cut up the middle term to two terms.
Dr. Strong,
Yeah.
you're doing the wrong problem.
Didn't you say 36?
Yeah, that's 38.
Oh, that's 38. Whoops, sorry. Now we're not going to have time. All right, let's see if I can hurry and do it. Okay, 38. Okay. Oh no, I just did 38. I want to do 36. Oh, brother. All right. 36. Okay. So 8x cubed y squared plus 4x cubed y minus 12x y squared. All right, so a 4 will go in each of those, x will go in each of those, y will go in each of those. Then you write in parentheses what you have left, 2x squared y plus x squared minus 3y. And that's it.